My name is Jen, and I thought it would be fun to make a channel where I putter in my garden and tell stories about fairies and elves and nature spirits who I have met. And there's some stories about spirits and other unexplained phenomena. So, gardening wise, I've got some beautiful, huge sunflowers that are going to that need to get potted out and go out in the greenhouse, and zucchini. Sorry, those are cucumber. And I think the little tiny peppers are doing good, but I think they'll stay inside for a little longer. Very exciting this year. For the first time ever, I have delphiniums, and they're doing so well, and I'm gonna separate them out so I can see if I can make many of them. I also have some sweet peas, or not sweet peas, sorry, snap peas that need to go outside too, and a whole bunch of other things, but we'll get to that. It's pouring rain outside, so I'm gonna try to not make too much of a mess, but it's just dirt, so whatever. Okay. So I was thinking, what's the first story I should tell you about? And I thought, I really like elves, and I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories about elves today. Now, you might say, why has this woman had so many interactions with interdimensional beings? And I want to say there's probably a few reasons. One of the reasons might be that I've spent a lot of time in nature. One of the reasons might be that I grew up in a family that never said that anything, well, my parents always believed us when we said that there was fairies outside, or that we were afraid of a shadow in our room. They would search under the bed and look in the closets, and they would believe us. So I do think that's an important piece of it. I also think that it runs in my family. So my grandma saw spirits and ghosts, and who she believed was Mother Mary come to visit her. My brother saw spirits that were more like Egyptian, like he had a visitor that had the head of a hawk and the body of a man. Myself, it's always been like nature spirits, which I've always been very drawn to nature. I've always spent a lot of time in nature. The forest was always my happy place. If I was ever sad, I went running to the woods, and I would look at the trees and feel the energy of the plants and the animals, and watch the butterflies and the birds, and then I would know that everything was going to be okay, and and I've always felt safe there. So elves. Now, I really think that in our society, in human history and mythology, we've given certain beings names. I think that there's way more beings than we have names for. And so some of the beings that I'm going to mention don't have like a formal name, and I can't attribute them to any sort of genre that I've already, that I think fits, but I do think my name of calling these beings elves does fit. Both of them, why I think they were from the same sort of species was because they were both around 4 feet tall. They were both like very youthful looking, where I think they were adults. Maybe they were teenagers, but they seemed like not like children, but they had a childlike appearance. Both of them had like big bright eyes. They were both like humanoid. They looked like they almost looked like human children, but they were small and had a, seemed older than their appearance. Okay, I'll tell you the first one that comes to mind. I was travel nursing in Bella Coola. Bella Coola is about a 12-hour drive north of Vancouver, and it is a super magical place. If you ever have the chance to visit, I highly recommend. It's absolutely stunning, and it's a very special place. I saw and heard many things that couldn't quite be explained in normal, scientific terms or whatever. So I befriended this woman who was a really beautiful artist, and she was living all by herself in this big, beautiful home that she built way up down in the valley outside of Bella Coola, and she'd been there for many years, and her and I became friends because I met, friends of hers, and so it goes. And me and her hit it off really well from the beginning. And, well, a lot of the people that we were hanging out with were men, and so, the two of us were single ladies. So she invited me over one time for a sleepover, and because I had a few days off work. And the two of us had such a wonderful day. She, showed me her property, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And she had a wood stove, and she had this beautiful fireplace that she was building stone by stone. And she cooked for me the most beautiful dinner of pine mushrooms that she picked from the forest, and in a pasta sauce, and it was delicious. And we were having a little red wine, and we were telling stories, and we, were talking for hours and hours. And in her window, so her house was situated on a hill, and for quite a distance around us was just forest. And I looked in the window, was a man that was about 4 foot tall, dark brown hair, big blue eyes, a very beautiful, well-tailored suit that appeared to be made of velvet, all different colors of blue, little breeches, and he was intently watching me and my friend. And I was watching him for a little while, and then he, as happens, I find, he saw that I was looking at him, and then he disappeared. And I've had that happen many times when I've seen an interdimensional being, like somebody that's not from our plane, is how I think of it. It seems that their energy and our energy can come to where we can physically see them, but then they can, I believe it would be like raising their vibration, and they can disappear, so we can't see them anymore. But he was so beautiful, and that was a very special time, and I told her about it, and she wasn't surprised at all because she had also seen other, inexplicable beings around her house before. The second elf, I'm gonna call it, that I saw was in my bedroom in Victoria, British Columbia, where I live. And she was so beautiful. I was with my partner, who I'm now married to, and he had a really bad tummy ache for 3 weeks. And okay, so let me describe Josh to you. He only believes in that which he sees. He does not believe in elves and fairies and other things that, aren't accepted by mainstream scientists or whatever. And when we met, I said, well, I'm worried, what if a being, because I've been having a lot of interactions with interdimensional beings at that time. And I said, well, what happens if one shows up in our bedroom, and are you gonna like be very afraid? And he just like laughed and thought that was hilarious. And, so there we were. Josh hadn't been feeling good. I was a bit worried because now we're going on, you know, he'd had this tummy ache for like 3 weeks and really bad heartburn and everything. And I woke up in the middle of the night and there was this beautiful, beautiful elf. She had curly hair that was like, it went like this, like, and had like a bit of a shelf in the back. And she also had very perfectly tailored little outfit. And she was kneeling on the floor beside our bed, beside Josh. And she had her hand on his belly as if she was healing him. And she was intently looking at him. And she was in such a moment that she didn't notice me watching her. And I was like, I wasn't afraid at all. I woke up and I saw her and I just was like, wow, and just watched her as she laid her hand on Josh's belly and like watched him. And then she saw me looking at her and then she disappeared. And I told Josh about that in the morning. I was like, well, I mean, are they fairies? Are they elves? Like, I didn't see wings, like, and but I don't know. So there was another kind of creature that I thought that I called fairies when I was little. So one day I will tell you that story. So that's why I thought of these beings more like elves. But I do think it's fascinating. So Josh, of course, was like, yeah, right. He didn't really believe me, but whatever. And you think like, okay, well, why would this elf be healing Josh? But Josh is very interesting. He's such a lovely human. He's a musician. He's got very high, beautiful energy, and babies always love him. Puppies love him. Like dogs come to him even when they won't go to anyone else. And I think that in my experience, like fairies love babies and they love the like giggling, high, beautiful energy. And I think because Josh brings so much joy to people, that's why he attracted this elf to come and heal him. So those are I hope you enjoyed my stories for today. I hope to do this again and I hope to see you. And my hope is that as I tell stories about the nature spirits that I've met and seen, that you will also share your nature spirit stories or your other stories and together we can better understand this beautiful earth plane existence. Blessings.